Welcome back to Grafting Dragon Fruit. I'm Richard, and in this video today, I'm going to be doing a big harvest on all of my dragon fruits that's ready. So if you're ready, let's get started. We're gonna start with Talzin Pink. Talzin Pink, early on during the season, gave me 2 flowers, and those 2 flowers are finally grown into ripened fruits. And you can see them, one's right here, and this one is starting to show signs of plumpness. It's starting to wiggle on the branch. The cone here is also starting to crack. So you look in the middle, it hasn't shown any flesh yet, so that's good. I'm getting it to the perfect time here. Once it cracks, it's almost a little too late. But in my experience, when I've been harvesting Talzin Pink tastes really, really good actually, once that cone cracks and shows a little bit of flesh. So if you're a backyard grower, you can let it crack, but if you're a commercial grower and you grow to sell to stores and retail, then you don't want that crack. It actually devalues your dragon fruit. So that's why commercial growers will always harvest a little bit early to keep all of the aesthetics on the fruit looking really good. But if you're a backyard grower like me and you only care about the flavor, then go ahead and let those cones crack, because that's when they taste really good, especially for Talzin Pink. Here's another one that hasn't have that cone crack yet. You can see that there's still speckle of green. It's a little loose, but I can still feel the tightness on there. And this cone is still kind of small. It hasn't stretched where it's cracked yet. So I know this one isn't ready yet. So Talzin Pink is self-fertile. You can use its own pollen to pollinate it. And last couple days, I've been having so many new Talzin Pink flowers. This is my second wave of Talzin Pink already starting to bloom. And my second wave seems like it's the bigger wave. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 Talzin Pink that's going to be ready in the next 4 to 5 weeks. So we like to give it about 40 days, sometimes a little quicker. If it's a little hot, then they will ripen a little quicker, but if it's cold, then they take a little bit longer. So you got to keep that in mind. Okay, so I have 1 Talzin Pink ready. I'm going to harvest that one first. All right, let's do the wiggle test. Yes, we got some wiggle. I'm seeing cone crack. Most of the green is gone. The tips are starting to dry out and starting to turn mostly red. So this is ready to go. And we'll leave the other Talzin Pink on there just so we can gauge how they are right now. And this one will give us a really good baseline of how ready they are. So this one's looking really good. Look at that, nice and stretched here. Good blushing. Cone's at its limit. So let's go and compare that to the other one. You guys can see the cone difference here. Look at that one and look at this one. This one still has a lot more to fill in, but this one already has pushed it all the way to its limit. So that's a really good indicator to know when to harvest your dragon fruit. All right, Talzin Pink, it's ready. We're gonna go ahead and label this. I have a little Sharpie. I'm gonna just write TP for Talzin Pink on the bottom. And if you guys aren't familiar with your dragon fruit yet and want to know what varieties you're eating, go ahead and just give it a little label. It's not going to leak into the flesh, so you don't have to worry about being like toxic by the permanent Sharpie. You're totally safe with writing on it, okay? All right, we got the first dragon fruit, and this is going to be a really fun harvest. This is Sugar Dragon, and Sugar Dragon is also self-fertile. It needs some hand pollination with its own pollen. But if you're proactive and coming out here at night and pollinate it every time the flowers bloom, you're gonna be loaded with all of these fruits just like me. Sugar Dragon is a very beginner-friendly variety. They grow very easily, they take the sun very well. They also take the coldness very well. So if you're someone that's just starting to grow dragon fruit and want to have really good dragon fruit, but don't want to struggle while growing them, Sugar Dragon is your variety. And I recommend this to all of my beginner growers and all of my friends or enthusiasts that wants to get into dragon fruit. Sugar Dragon is a must-have in your garden. If you don't have this and you're growing dragon fruit, you need to have one. All right, let's go ahead and start harvesting all of these Sugar Dragons. I like to harvest them when they're a bit green, but I wanted to save all of these fruits to do a harvest video, so I kind of let them ripen a little bit more than I prefer. They hold on to the branch very well. They don't crack like other varieties, like Guatemalensis varieties. They crack very easily, even when they're still green. So Sugar Dragon can get really red, and they just get bigger and more plump. You can see this one is one of my first wave ones where I just left. It's nice and loose, but no crack. The integrity looks good. it's just getting more swollen and swollen as I leave them on. So it's a perfect time to finally harvest them. So let's go ahead and do that. All right, guys. Here we go. First one. Oh, and you guys see that? Sugar dragon has sometimes little thorns at the base. I don't know if you guys can see it, but we're gonna try to focus on there. But yeah, there's one here, another one here, and another one right here. And I just flick them off like that, guys. So when you're harvesting sugar dragon, wear some gloves. Make sure you guys don't hold at the base when you take them off, and make sure you check on them before grabbing them with your hand, because they're small and thin, and once they poke in, it hurts really bad. It has happened to me multiple times already. Okay, I'm just gonna go ahead and start harvesting these now. This one is slightly green. This is how I prefer them. A little bit more green would be ideal. But yeah, the texture is more firm when it's like this, and there's a little bit more acid, so it tastes a little bit more fun. Let's take this big one off here. This one is definitely ready. Wow. No damage to the fruit at all. The side that's been getting a lot of sun is more red. The other side that's, you know, facing down is a little bit more green, but that is one chunky sugar dragon, and it looks like it wants to split soon. I see the translucent line here. Oh, I barely poked it, and there it is. There's the crack, so good thing we took it off. All right, I'm gonna go this side, and then we'll go behind. There's just so many. This is another nice plumped one. Here's one that I forgot to take off the flower. I always like to take off the flower early, you guys. And let me explain to you guys a little bit why I do that in the beginning. So once it's early, it's easier for you to take off the flower because the fruit isn't ripe and the skin isn't so thin. So if I were to break this and just peel it, let me just show you guys actually what happens when you don't take off the flower early. You guys ready? Here we go. That's what happens. It stays onto the fruit, and when you try to remove it, it just peels the skin off like that. So it's a very good idea to start practicing peeling off of this flower once it's done pollinating. So that way you don't have to worry about it peeling your fruit like this, and then you're gonna have to eat it right away. So that's what I'm gonna do. And another reason why I do that is, if you guys check in the center, that's mold from the flower. So you guys gotta make sure you guys remove it early. And I always warn people about this, like, yeah, you can leave it on there, it doesn't do anything, you can always remove it later, but if you wait, this is what you get. There's a little bit of mold in there, so I'm not gonna eat that part. I brought out my pocket knife here. I'm gonna cut that in half, or cut that part off, just like that. So I still see it a little bit in there. We're gonna go ahead and take that off too. And now we're just left with the rest of the sugar dragon that looks absolutely amazing. Let's go. Wow. Super sweet, juicy, delicious, and recording this in the hot sun, this is actually helping me cool down and helping me feel refreshed. So, whew, it was perfect. So good, guys. So that's why I always take off the flower a little early to prevent this from happening. And if it does happen and you took it off late, just peel it off, and if it rips, just eat it right on the spot. Okay, so we're just gonna toss it on the floor, let it decompose, and continue our harvest. So I'm part-time acrobat, and I have to do all these funky moves to get in here. But yeah, this one, look at that wiggle. That is wiggling nice. So we know it's ready. Okay, I'm gonna start speeding up and start taking them off. Okay, so here's an example where it's still kind of green, and if I were to take the flower off, you see that? It doesn't crack or tear the fruit, so do that. Here's another example. You can go ahead and take this one off now. I like to take them off when they're at this stage. Here's another example. Take them off at this stage. See, no, nothing happened. Okay, there's so many behind here, guys, so I'm just gonna quickly start harvesting all these here so we can get to the next trellis, because it is hot outside today. Okay, here's another example of the flower still on the fruit. What I'm gonna do is just wiggle it like this, take a scissor and get to that base of it and snip it. You don't wanna peel it when they're like this, because you're just gonna rip the skin again. So that's how I take them off when they're at that stage. Here's another one that I didn't get to do because they're in the back of the trellis. Same thing, gonna go in here, snip that right off. All right, guys, there's about 5 more fruits here. And if we go to the other side, then I'll meet you guys right back here. There's about 4 more. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And this was only my first wave of sugar dragon. We have plenty more flowers coming, as you guys can see. This is my 3rd wave of buds, but I have my 2nd wave of fruits already starting to ripen. But yes, and we have this really funky looking one here where the flower looks like it wants to open. I'm just letting it do its thing. We'll see what happens. If it blooms, it blooms. If it doesn't, don't worry too much about it. Okay, so we just finished all of our sugar dragon. Let's go ahead and move to this next trellis here where it has cotton candy. Wow. Let me just put this knife away before I poke myself. All right, guys, this is cotton candy here. Cotton candy is a Connie Meyer seedling, and this was given to me by Donovan. He grew it with David Bowie, I believe that's his name. And you can see that it's already starting to crack. So this is more than ready to harvest. And the skin usually stays coral like this. So we're gonna go ahead, take it off. You need to cross-pollinate this with a different variety of pollen for it to set. You can use sugar dragon, you can use Vietnam white. As long as it's not its own pollen, then it will fruit. So we have cotton candy. I'm not gonna label this because I know what this one looks like and it's the only one. So we're gonna keep on moving, okay guys? Ooh, look at this Connie Meyer. This Connie Meyer is the only Connie Meyer that I had, mainly because it's sitting in shade and probably competing with all of these other varieties growing in this pot. Doesn't look too ready yet, but starting to wiggle. I'm gonna let it get a little bit more pink and then I'll harvest it. This is Vietnam red. Vietnam red is self-fertile, and look at this size of this fruit. It is ginormous. Not ready yet. It's starting to blush, but we're gonna wait a little bit longer for that to fully turn red before we harvest them. All right, here we have Natural Mystic. Natural Mystic are one of those varieties where I've given it about 3 years now to see if I like it. And still to this current date, I still do not enjoy it. If you guys have Natural Mystic, let me know in the comments if this is a variety that you guys like, if it tastes sweet for you guys. Because for me, it always kind of have a neutral taste to mine. It's sweet, but it doesn't have a lot of flavor in my opinion. I don't know if it's because my weather in California doesn't grow them well, because in Hawaii they rave about this and tell me how good it is, so I started growing them. I like it because it's self-fertile. You can use its own pollen to pollinate it, but it doesn't really taste that outstanding to me where I want to keep it. I've noticed that it cracks all the time before it gets fully ripe, because the skin of this actually gets really fluorescent red. You can see that it's not quite there yet, and it's already starting to burst and crack. This one has a really major crack. So this is what the color will look like once it gets more ripe. I already took one in to see if it tastes good. So I'm just gonna leave this on here because I just don't know how these are gonna taste yet. They look ready, but I've harvested them at this stage before and it didn't taste too good. So let me just grab one. Why not? Okay. Does this one look more red to you? I think this one does. We're just gonna take this one off because there's already another fruit on here and it's competing with each other. But here's Natural Mystic. You know what? Let's just try this right now and see if it's good. Sorry guys, let me get my knife out. All right, you guys ready to see what Natural Mystic looks like? Here we go. All right, here we go. Look at that. Beautiful flesh inside. Beautiful flesh. Maybe this year it might prove me wrong and actually taste good and make me keep it. Okay, this is just way too much. I'm gonna take a slice here. See how this edge tastes. All right, Yep, still the same thing. Very neutral in taste to me. The sugar's there. I definitely feel the sugar, but it's just not one of those where it has a lot of rich, complex dragon fruit flavor, like all of the berry flavors or fruity flavors. It's just okay to me. Okay, I'm gonna put this on the side so then it doesn't start leaking everywhere. All right, we're going on to the next trellis. Here we have Pink Panther. Pink Panther is the sister to Sugar Dragon. And this variety here is also self-fertile. You need to hand pollinate them, but they grow very, very easily. They're very sun tolerant, cold tolerant, just like the sister Sugar Dragon. And these fruits too hold its integrity very well. They've been ready to harvest for about maybe a week and a half ago, but I just left them on and you can see they just keep on getting more plumped and plumped. I'm gonna take the, we just took the first one off, and this one also has some little thorns, so be careful, okay guys? I just flipped them off. Okay, I'm actually gonna write on this one because they look very similar to the Sugar Dragon. So what I'm gonna do is at the bottom here, we're just gonna put PP for Pink Panther. And go ahead and throw that in there. Let's close this knife up. We have more. Label it again. Making sure all the thorns are off. Okay, now we're safe to throw them in. Let's see here, we have another one here. Very easy variety to grow. The flavor of Pink Panther is outstanding. It's like biting into crystallized sugar, but in dragon fruit form. I'm never disappointed every time I have these. Pink Panther. All right, I see two more that's ready for harvest, and we're gonna move on to the next trellis. And I really like using these scissors, you guys, because you know by now it has a curved tip, so when I come in there to cut it, I can get it really close to the branch, so I'm not damaging the fruit too much. Okay, we got Pink Panther, another Pink Panther. All right, our basket is starting to look full and it's starting to feel pretty heavy. Our next trellis here doesn't have anything ready. This one, you may wonder, why does it look just like Sugar Dragon and Pink Panther? It's because this is the third sister of Sugar Dragon and Pink Panther. This is called Voodoo Child. And I believe Voodoo Child is the most inferior one to the whole three sisters. Sugar Dragon and Pink Panther just has way more complexity in flavor. So if you're growing Voodoo Child and you want to start reading it down and you have all three of the sisters, you can just keep Sugar Dragon or Pink Panther. Voodoo Child is okay. You can definitely tell if you have them side by side which one is the better one. But if this is all you grow, Voodoo Child is actually a really good one if this is all you have. So if this is all you have, keep it. Okay, we're gonna write VC on this one for Voodoo Child. This feels like about 5 to 6 pounds of dragon fruit already, and majority of the weight is all coming from these small ones. You see how the Sugar Dragon, Pink Panther, and Voodoo Child are small, but they make up in their size by producing a lot of fruits and having really rich flavor in the dragon fruit flavor. This trellis here we have nothing. This is wild berry Skittles, almost ready. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 fruits. This one is the Asunta 6, not ready yet. We have Sunset Sherbet, Asunta 3, and Asunta 5, not ready yet. And Asunta 4 still doing its thing here. The flowers sometimes get stuck like this, and it hasn't bloomed yet, so I don't think it's gonna bloom. So I'm actually getting rid of Asunta 4 this season because the flowers always get stuck and the fruit just doesn't taste as good as all the Asuntas. So after this season, I'm gonna be removing Asunta. All right, I've actually been harvesting different Asunta 5s at different stages to see how they taste, and I really like them when they're slightly green. So we have one right here that just is absolutely ready. Look at that size here. This is Asunta 5, really, really good flavor. Love it, has a deep red flesh to it, self-sterile, so you're gonna need to cross-pollinate them to get these fruits. All right, I wanted to share this with you guys. You see this white patch here? There's nothing wrong with this fruit. Actually, there was a fruit that was on top of this, another Asunta 5 fruit that was on top of this, and you can see the cut here that I already harvested. It used to hang over like this and block the sun from getting to it. So the minute I removed that fruit, on a hot day, it caused a sun scorch here. So there's nothing wrong with this fruit. There's absolutely nothing wrong with it. It's just been covered by another fruit, just like this. So this is an example. It was like this, but one was ready, so I cut it. And when I cut it, it finally got exposed to the sun that it wasn't used to yet and caused a little sunburn. So I'm very curious if this kind of damaged the fruit inside. We'll see, the flesh inside. So this one will be another video for another day, but I thought I'd share that with you guys. So if you remove the fruit that's on top of it, expect it to get sunburn a little bit if it's a hot day. If you don't want this to happen, you can go ahead and just cover it with a paper bag until the sun's over, and then it shouldn't damage your fruit. But that was really cool. That was the first time it happened to me, and I was like, wow, I didn't know that was possible. All right, we have another trellis of Sugar Dragon here. Nothing's ready. Here's is my pink Panther trellis. And this is the pink Panther trellis that I made for itself. The other pot had mixed varieties in it, but I love pink Panther so much I had to have 4 cuttings of the same variety in the same pot. And yes, we have more pink Panthers ready. This one has a lot of thorns. I can actually see them from just looking at them like this. So slightly green. This is one I really like them, you guys. They taste absolutely delicious because it has a nice tart. It's just not all sugar, and I love that contrast with it. I'm not gonna write on that because I can see. Here you go, some more that are still slightly green. This is almost like a coral color, but we have so many super ripe ones that I want something a little different. This one needs a little bit more time. It is wiggling, but I feel the skin, it still feels a little thick. I want it to, you know, get a little bit more plump before we take them off. Okay, we're gonna go to the back now. This is Sour Patch Kids. It's right in the corner, doing very well, loving its pot, and is actually very productive this season. So I'm gonna go ahead and go back there and see what's ready and take them off. All right, let's take a look at this one. Uh-oh, I think I'm stuck. Here's a fruit that bloomed on the lower branch. It's starting to ripen. When you have a lower branch like this that's not being supported by the top trellis, I'm going to go ahead and take some garden tape and tie it to this so it holds it up. I'm going to tie it to this and hold it like this, so that way when the fruit starts growing, it's going to start bending. And eventually it could snap this branch in half. So be careful with the lower branch fruits, okay guys? Make sure you tie it with some garden tape, some strings, anything to help support it up, so once this fruit starts to grow, it doesn't snap this in half. So it's almost getting to that point. All right, here is the Sour Patch Kids that I'm gonna take down. This one looks ready. The cone is nice and stretched. I see some cracking in there. So this is gonna be perfect for harvesting right now. It doesn't want to let go. All right, here's Sour Patch Kids, nice and red. Even the fins on here are starting to turn fully red. But if you look in there, you can see a little bit of the flesh. You can see the cone cracking, and this is my favorite time to harvest Sour Patch Kids. All right, let me go ahead and just pop around, see what else is ready, and start cutting them off. All right, these ones are ready. This one hasn't fully cracked yet. Let's see if these are ready. Not quite there yet, but I'm going to take one off because I'm curious of how it tastes. It's just a nice small one. And let me sneak behind here. Not ready. This one can probably do another day or two. This one probably another day or two. So I like to harvest these around 40 to 45 days. But then again, I tell you guys, days can be very subjective because it can always change. It can get really hot or really cold, and that's gonna really determine when you can harvest these fruits, okay? But here's some Sour Patch Kids. You can see the stretching. Here's one with a really good crack. So I know these are ready. All right, behind me here, this is Pink Laverne. Pink Laverne is a very good tasting variety. I got this from Tung. He grows pink Laverne, and he told me that this was one of his favorite. And he's very particular with what type of dragon fruits he grows. This one just started blushing and turning red. Even though you see them turn red like this, don't harvest them until another maybe 3 to 4 days. Wait until it gets really red and really plump. And once it does that, give it another extra 2 days if it doesn't wiggle. Because once it turns fully red, they're just finally fully developing, but the flavor inside of it hasn't reached its full potential yet. So once you guys see red dragon fruit like this, don't get tricked by the color. Really give it some more time. Once it turns red, maybe a few extra days for it to get all of its rich development inside, so the fruit flesh tastes amazing. All right, little tip there for you guys when you're harvesting. So I'm looking around here, we don't have much. Here's cherry gushers, the fruit's grown really big. And we have Jurassic guava buds here. Here's another cherry gushers. We have sour apple heads, still not ready. And a Jurassic guava right here and more in the back. But these guys are gonna take probably another 2 weeks until they start showing any color. Okay, let's go ahead. We're almost done with harvesting these fruits. This is Sour Patch Watermelon. One of the first fruits to be ready. Not quite there yet, probably because it's under this canopy where there's getting a lot of shade. But that's good because it's not causing it to crack or anything like that, and it's starting to swell up. I see the cone cracking a little bit right there. But there's a lot of green on it on this side still, so we're gonna give it maybe another day or two. Hopefully it stays hot because it's been getting really hot here in Southern California in Anaheim. And then we'll come back to Sour Patch Watermelon to take it off once it's ready. But we have so many flowers, so many fruits here. All right, this is American Beauty. And American Beauty is going crazy right now. Oh, there was a moth in there that almost got caught by a spider. But American Beauty, self-fertile, self-pollinating. You don't have to do anything, just grow it and they'll pollinate itself. Really, really amazing fruits. Tastes very similar to Sour Patch Kids and Sour Patch Watermelon because they're the same family. You have the Guatemalensis here. All right, we have Wild Berry Skittles, still not ready, but I just love how the fruits are looking. If you don't know by now, Wild Berry Skittle is a variegated variety. So that's why you're seeing yellow, a lot of twisting and turning. And the reason for that is because it's the variegation. The yellow part doesn't have any chlorophyll, so it doesn't photosynthesize and grow. The parts that do have green, they have chlorophyll, so they can photosynthesize with the sun. And those parts, the green side will keep on growing, but the yellow part don't grow. So that's why sometimes it just pulls it back and you'll get a turn and a twist. And that's why all of the twisting happens when you have variegated plants. But the fruits also look very beautiful because even the fruits are variegated. You see the yellow, red, orange, purple, very beautiful fins. Here's another one with the variegation. I've noticed that all of the Wild Berry Skittles fruits that's in the sun has a lot of variegation. But the ones that's just sitting in the shade, they're staying nice and green. And you can see them in the back here. There's so many. And those are the Wild Berry Skittles sitting in the shade. And the ones in the sun are just so pretty with the variegation on them. Once it starts to fully ripe, they still stay pretty variegated and it looks really cool. Okay. So none of that is ready. Here is Asunta 6, the sister of Wild Berry Skittles. And this flower looks like it's actually gonna bloom tonight. It's starting to really release the petals. It's about 1 p.m. now. So that's when they start really showing if they're gonna bloom. So this is what it looks like once they start to bloom. The bulbs gets a little loose and you see the petals in the tip, they start to release. So this is gonna be a very beautiful flower. We have lots of Asunta 6 here. I love the size of them. They stay consistently really big. I did not thin any of them out and they are starting to really get big in size. Usually a lot of fruits will compromise size, but with Asunta 6, it's not happening. It's keeping its size. So you see the cone is starting to stretch. We're getting some light blush, still like coral color, still green. So these taste really good once they turn full color, so red. So we're gonna give it a few more days, but if it cracks, then I might just take them off. We have Red Laverne here. We also have Grape Pop. Grape Pop has one fruit that is gonna be ready probably in another week or so. It's still pretty green, but it's getting pretty big in size. But we have lots of other Grape Pop fruits that's gonna ripen soon. And this trellis over here is Lisa. Lisa is a mean one. Look at all the spikes on these. It's just like Pelora, where they're small little spikes, but if you touch them, they can hurt. They can hurt pretty bad. All right, so none of them look ready here, but just wanted to show you guys Lisa. I like to pick them when the cone cracks because Lisa is already a very tardy variety and they taste really good when they crack, and it's not quite there yet. You can see they're red, but they haven't cracked on the cone yet. And that's when Lisa's really, really tasty because they have a very sharp tart to them. And the sugar really needs to build to balance out that tart. So if you ever harvest Lisa right when they turn red, it still has that tartness. Just let it crack. Once it cracks, ooh, Lisa's gonna be one of your favorites, I bet. All right, I think we've completed the harvest today. That's all of the fruits that needed to be harvested during this time for our first wave. Once we have more fruits, I'll do a second video or another video of another harvest of all of the other more exotic varieties, the very rare ones like the Sunta 6, the wild berry Skittles, all of those cool ones that are not fully ripe yet. But other than that, very happy with the haul that I got today. I have plenty for myself, plenty to share with my friends, and even give to my neighbors. And that's why I love growing dragon fruit like this, you guys, because I get to share them with all of the people that never got to try different varieties of dragon fruit before, and to see the expression on their faces is priceless. So that's why growing dragon fruit is so fun to me, and I absolutely love them and enjoy growing, grafting, creating new hybrids. It's always going to be something that I'll be doing for the rest of my life. So hope you guys enjoyed this video today, and hope you guys enjoy all of the harvest and all the fruits that I got. If you guys did, hit that like button. If you guys have any questions or comments of any of the varieties that I just talked about today, put it in the comments below and I'll get back to you guys as soon as I can. And if you guys have not subscribed to this channel yet, make sure you hit that subscribe button so that way you won't miss a single thing. And I'll see you guys in the next grafting dragon fruit video. Peace.